Hi guys, so we think we get to the stage where Boris Johnson is forced to go. And somehow the evidence against him, the calls for him to resign, and even the mild disgust that exists within his own party seems to dissipate with each passing day following the news of the incident. The latest, which should sink him as Prime Minister, but we've been down this road before, is the accusation that he attended a party at number 10 in the Garden on the 20th of May 2020. ITV News obtained an email that said, and I quote, "Hi all, after what has been an incredibly busy period, we thought it'd be nice to make the most of the lovely weather and have some socially distanced drinks in the number 10 Garden this evening. Please join us from 6 p.m. and bring your own booze." This was sent, it seems, by Martin Reynolds, the guy you see in red. 100 employees were invited, but between 30 and 40 showed up. Food and wine were set out on tables for guests at the time when social mixing was banned unless it was with one other person from another household and it was done outdoors in a public place. Just to go off on a tangent for a second, do you remember that scene in the Rose Garden with Dominic Cummings where he broke the rules and got away with it? At the time I couldn't fully understand why. I thought perhaps he was in charge and Boris Johnson was afraid of him, perhaps he had some dirt on Johnson. Well, it appears that Johnson couldn't have fired him because Boris Johnson broke the rules too, in perhaps a more egregious way. Anyway, back to Boris Johnson and his party. It seems this one came about 5 days after the wine and pizza party on the 15th of May, which was reported some weeks ago. Johnson had insisted that all the rules were followed, but he would not answer questions about whether an event had actually taken place. Then when the image was released, he had to accept its existence, but continued to lie and say that it was a business meeting. The Labour Party has attacked Johnson for putting his officials in the firing line while he hides behind them. The SNP have gone further and demanded that Johnson resign, and if he doesn't, his MPs should remove him. So what did Boris Johnson have to say about the latest incident?
Okay, and I want to ask you about the latest allegations on Christmas parties. Did you and Carrie attend the Downing Street party that was organised by Martin Reynolds on the 20th of May?
All that, as you know, is the subject of a proper...
It's all a joke to him. It's all a massive joke to Boris Johnson. He's supposed to act like a leader. He's supposed to show an example. Now that he's been caught out, now that he's been discovered, it's all a joke to him. He's going to laugh it off.
Investigation by Sue Gray.
So have you already been interviewed by Sue Gray? And if not, do you object to her questioning you again about this?
All that is subject for an interview.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Any serious issue, Boris Johnson laughs about it. It's all a massive joke to him. The fact that he has been discovered. He set the rule and he broke the rule. He was discovered. There's photographic evidence of him relaxing in the garden. Sorry, here's the image here. This image here. Now, this is a different party, but he broke the rules here as well. Drinking wine, having some cheese, sitting there with his girlfriend at the time with their baby. Dominic Cummings on the other side. It's all a massive joke to Boris Johnson because he knows he can get away with it. He treats the role of Prime Minister as a joke, as a game, something to pass the time. He may find it funny, but others do not. And I want to read out this tweet that was shared by Rachel Wermouth. This tweet is originally by Hannah Brady of COVID Justice UK, who said, "My dad died 4 days before this email was sent out." This email here. "He was 55 and was a fit and healthy key worker. I've missed him every day since. Just like the rest of the country, my family did everything we could to keep him and others safe during lockdown." Goes on to say, "To make matters worse, in September I sat in the same garden, looked the Prime Minister in the eyes and told him how my dad had died. He told me, Boris Johnson, he told me he had done everything he could to protect my dad, knowing that he had partied in that same spot the very day that my dad's death certificate was signed." So Boris Johnson knew he was lying to this lady, and he just didn't give a crap. Because he's Boris Johnson. Now, I've said before that I've tried to find some humanity within Boris Johnson. And I think there isn't any humanity within him. Who can sit there? You have somebody who has lost their father, somebody who has followed the rules. And this person has opened up to you, has explained how their father died, how they, were not able to, probably not able to be with them at their last moments because of the rules that you had put in place. Rightly so, right? These rules, there was nothing wrong with the rules. But how can Boris Johnson sit there, listen to that, and then turn around and have a party? What does that tell you about this person? I've said before, there are allegations that Boris Johnson, in order to get into some exclusive club, burnt, I think it was a £20 note or a £50 note. It's indifferent, the quantity. But he burnt some currency in front of a homeless person. What does that tell you about this person? What does that tell you about Boris Johnson? I don't know if it's true or not, but is it a stretch of the imagination that Boris Johnson would do something like that? I don't think so. The fact that he listened to somebody pour out their feelings, pour out their heart, explain how their father had died, and Johnson would just ignore that and have his party. What does that tell you about him? Does he actually have a soul? Does he actually have some humanity left in him? Or did he ever actually have any in the first place? A disgusting individual, and I hope that he's going to resign. I don't think he will. I think it will have to be a situation where the party forces him out. But relying on the Conservative Party to find some soul, to find some humanity, is also a stretch, I think. Perhaps we have to rely on the voters. But we've seen how many people have come out and said, Boris Johnson is doing the best he can. Give him a break. He has a lot on his plate. He's dealing with Brexit. He's dealing with the pandemic. He also has time for parties, it seems. And also time to contact Tory donors to get his flat fixed up. Boris Johnson doesn't care. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about your family. He doesn't care about the Conservative Party. He doesn't care about being Prime Minister, I think. He just cares about himself. And he doesn't care about the consequences of his actions. He's never suffered the consequences of his actions. We've seen that before. And I think he's laughing about all of this now because he knows he will get away with it. I hope he doesn't. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.